here, my friend.
This is the emergency broadcast system. We are under attack by conventional forces of the Russian army. It is believed the lead waves were disguised as commercial charter flights. Communications have broken down with other parts of the country. Large areas of the Midwest may have been overrun.
They know who all of you are. They're looking for you.
You're 40 miles behind enemy lines.
I just want to go home. They took a lot of people away.
Where's my dad, Mr. Eckert?
You want to love somebody, Andy. You're gonna die before it happens.
They're gonna kill us! All of us!
So why should we be different?
Because we live here!
Bad for a bunch of kids, huh?
Mama'd be real proud.
Wolverines!
At least 17 U.S. military bases near Chinese-owned farmland, reportedly seeing a surge in drone activity and sightings in recent weeks. The sightings happening near bases in Hawaii and installations in Utah, California, Maine, and Florida. House Foreign Affairs Committee Chairman Michael McCaul has been warning about the drones in focus these last couple of weeks.
Among the surge of migrants crossing the southern border and making their way to New York City, asylum seekers all the way from China.
Many of them are finding their way into long-established communities and leaning on family and friends for help.
To ward off the dominance that we continue to see from communist China.
Right. And these compact states, it's $2.4 billion over 20 years. But the other issue, of course, is the border, as you've talked about, because across that border, we are seeing Chinese soldiers come across. And really what we're talking about is China putting together the infrastructure in the U.S. to attack the U.S. So clearly we've got to secure that border or we're going to be fighting on our own soil.
Well, it's just incredible to me that this administration refuses to acknowledge all these Chinese nationals that are coming through the border. They're creating a little mini army. And I'm wondering what the point is here. Are they trying to put people in place, I'm talking about communist China, so that when and if Donald Trump wins, they can create havoc in the streets and become saboteurs, starting wildfires and propaganda?
Absolutely. That lab in Reedley, California, the secret Chinese biological weapons facility, that can't be the only one that China has. And then you put together these images of recent Chinese migrants coming into the U.S. less than 3 weeks, taking target practice with sniper rifles and pistols. So really what we have here is the makings of a Chinese army, not in China, but in the United States itself. And the Biden administration is not tracking these people.
This is incredibly disturbing.
A massive ongoing Chinese hack of telecom companies that's possibly intercepting phone calls and text messages in the U.S. right now, leading to an unprecedented FBI warning to consumers. The head of Homeland Security calling the threat, in his words, very, very serious.
It's a very sophisticated hack. I can't speak publicly to how it occurred, but the telecom providers are focused intensely on it.
Officials from the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, or CISA, and the FBI say Americans need to protect what they say on their phones with encryption. Translation, if you're an iPhone user texting someone on an Android, there's a good chance your messages are unprotected from hackers. The workaround, using end-to-end encryption apps like Signal or WhatsApp. The hack, dubbed Salt Typhoon by Microsoft, the FBI calling it an espionage campaign.
This is the most persistent campaign the United States has ever seen, from an advanced hacking crew to break in, and it was a matter of time, really.
The FBI saying China was possibly listening in on calls from Senator Chuck Schumer's office and both the Trump and Harris campaigns. The Chinese government denied the accusation.
Phone calls were tapped, text messages were read, voicemails were read, as well as call records.
Verizon said when the hack was revealed, it is, quote, committed to assisting law enforcement in this investigation.
The system has been broken for decades.
Why not
take executive action right now? Why not do more right now to address this?
What executive action are you suggesting that we take that we haven't taken that would survive court scrutiny?
Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas telling us he's working with China, which currently refuses to take back Chinese migrants who are deported from the U.S.
Well, that may be changing. We have been working with the People's Republic of China to actually receive individuals whom we have determined are not eligible to remain in the United States.
You know, at this point, it's really not right that the Pentagon has not given us more information as far as these drones are concerned. Of course, everyone's going to just start speculating. We need some real answers from the Pentagon to really understand what's going on. I mean, the fact that China is surveilling America is not a secret. Everyone knows that that the surveillance programs are in place, and they're once again around our military bases. But we're not getting any answers from anybody. Meanwhile, President-elect Trump reportedly inviting Chinese President Xi Jinping to attend his inauguration next month. This is according to CBS. Trump invited Xi back in early November, right after the election. This invitation comes as trade tensions intensify between the U.S. and China over proposed tariffs. The move would place a 25% tariff on Canadian and Mexican goods, plus an additional 10% tariff on imports from China. Xi Jinping has warned the U.S. against renewing a trade war, saying that there will be, quote, no winners.
You know, the increased tempo of these drone flights against our military bases is occurring at the same time as there's increased frequency of incursions and attempted incursions of these bases by Chinese and other nationals. Really, what is occurring here is that they are preparing to attack the United States from American soil. I don't know why we need an engraved invitation from Beijing. It's clear what's going to happen. We are going to get hit, and we're not taking the necessary precautions to protect these bases and to protect the American people.
Well, I mean, there's also, a weakened situation to admit. I mean, you know, for the longest time, General Jack Keane has been telling us on this program repeatedly for years that we are outgunned, we are outmanned when you look at our Navy versus the Chinese Navy. I mean, the Pentagon released its 2024 China Military Power Report yesterday. It found that Beijing is increasing its military pressure on Taiwan. It's ramping up its aggression in the South China Sea. It's deepening its ties with Russia, and its crackdown on military corruption may have disrupted progress toward its 2027 modernization goal. China also growing its nuclear arsenal, adding at least 100 nuclear warheads to its stockpile over the past year, with 600 plus already in the arsenal. That number could grow to over 1,000 by 2030, Gordon. And yet there's no response ever from the Biden-Harris administration to Beijing's behavior. We allowed the spy balloon to traverse the country for a week before shooting it down. Why aren't they shooting down these drones in the air if they suspect they're from China?
There's no good answer. You have base commanders, first of all, don't have the authority, and they don't have the equipment to shoot down these drones. And the Chinese are noticing this, which means they see a big vulnerability. You know, and with those nuclear warheads, Maria, you know, China is building up its arsenal not to deter. It already has enough warheads to deter. It's building up its arsenal so that it can coerce us and others into not doing things like defending Taiwan. They saw the way Biden reacted to Vladimir Putin's nuclear threats before the invasion of Ukraine. They saw that they worked, and the Chinese are going to do the same thing when they go after the Philippines, Japan, Taiwan, whomever.
Well, I want to look at what's happening on the ground. A Chinese man was arrested in 2023 for allegedly running a secret Chinese police station in New York City. He pled guilty yesterday to acting as an illegal foreign agent, Gordon. He's now facing 5 years in prison. He and his partner allegedly opened this police station back in 2022 to track and intimidate Chinese dissidents living in the United States. Both were caught deleting communications with an official from the Chinese Ministry of Public Security after learning that they were, in fact, under investigation. Gordon, you've been talking about this for so many years, these police stations. You first broke the news on this program years ago that Beijing had set up these police stations in America. Again, no response from Biden for years on police station. Why would we need Beijing police stations in New York City?